or at that moment. And they can also record. And what I kind of wanted to do here is sort of show you how these are used. That's just a basic Steadicam setup. I feel like that's me. Very simple ways, and I think what's different and what was important during my sabbatical is to establish curriculum that kind of separates what a photographer might do with video versus what cinematography might do versus what even the nursing program might do with video or biology or, right? We know that all of this, the moving image, kind of touches every department, and it's how we approach it through our medium and through the history of our medium that changes. And so here's a couple different ways that you might see these types of cameras. And then I want to show you the extreme. Like one is you could just hand hold the camera, and the extreme is something like this, where I dare you to actually find the camera in there. In other words, the peripherals, the add-ons to a digital camera, this is like a monitor, an eyepiece, a battery, extra batteries, micro-focusing. So there is a trend of taking a small little camera and building it out to this massive thing. Of course, all that costs money. But that is part of what people are doing. And what I'm going to show in this lecture is how it's being used. This is the curriculum that, thanks to the curriculum committee, is through curriculum already. So it is already a course we're going to be teaching in the fall 2015. And part of it, you read the catalog description. It says, I won't read the whole thing, but it basically says, and what I determined during my sabbatical, is what is it do we want to teach here if we're going to teach video? What is our end game, and what separates us from the other departments? And what I did is I determined what are the jobs that students are going to, what are they going to get? And I realized, well, there's photojournalism. You can't be a photojournalism without shooting video now. Every newspaper, including our own Breeze, yes, has that type of delivery system online. Fashion now is e-commerce, right? And so and I'll show you, you go online and you try and buy something, there's a video there for you to view. That's a job for our students. If you look at even any sort of political thing, like this board is being taped right now and being served online, right? So videotape is coming into play with that. So I designed a course from the back forward, thinking what's the end, what's the result, how do we teach that course for our students? And so I want to show you a couple examples. The other thing is that one of my students had a job, they were going to apply to Zappos.com, right, the shoe store. And one of the things that was said to him when he wanted to apply is, well, you could give us a resume or you could give us a video resume. And again, he took a gasp, like, I've never done that. And we realized, like, oh, we have to teach these students this, otherwise they won't be up to date. So the beginning of my sabbatical started with this, which was I was lucky enough to be able to attend the Adobe Max conference, thanks to my dean, where's Dean Canelli, and the Visual and Performing Arts. I was sent to this conference, which is really prestigious. 5,000 attendees from all over the globe went to this conference, and it was presented by Adobe. And it was a creative conference talking about all things Adobe. And I learned so much even about cloud delivery now, which, you know, David is here. We're going to have to deal with that soon. Thank you, David, for setting up my presentation. And so this is something that impacts us greatly as a department. Attending this conference allowed me to understand what kind of software we'd be using in the future and how that delivery is going to change. So this was massively informative. And what I've done here is I included jobs. I just went on Craigslist and looked for jobs that a student might apply to. And this is the one that says, see at the end of the very last paragraph, it says, and one more thing, cover letters can be video. And that would be cool. That's their word for if you want the job, you better be cool, yeah. Right? Yeah. And so I just wanted to show you the Zappos website. Here it is. So if you were going to buy a pair of shoes, do you see how down here there's a little click for video? And I use this quite often. I buy my shoes from this site. And so here's the guy, and on purpose they use kind of a low-tech guy, like as if he were coming out of the warehouse, right? And he talks in a real casual way, like he's not a salesperson, he's actually got those shoes in front of him. Oops, my bad.
How's it going? I'm Joe. Let's take a look at the Chuck Taylor All-Star Core Oxford Converse.
Yeah, Converse, I had to use them, right?
Shoe of choice.
But can you see it?
Bring it old school.
I was careful how I selected
Once
the
a
shoe,
basketball
right?
shoe is now a staple in everybody's closet.
Right. And so the idea behind this is, look how much more dynamic this is in terms of selling shoes, right? To see someone talking, to turn it, you can see it. I can't imagine being in business without utilizing this. This takes a lot of manpower and woman power with cameras, right? To do this, and so I see this as a real good market for our students. Here's another job, and we have so many students who take wedding photography and start a business. It's the one really vocational thing that you can actually do this with hardly any capital, right? Get a website, get some friends, take some pictures at their wedding, start the business. And wedding is all about billing, right? What can you bill? And so this is so popular is to do wedding videos. And this video really shows what the 35mm camera can do. Pay attention to really like how the focus can zoom in and zoom out. This would be something that you would need, $60,000 camera before, instead of a $500 camera. And notice that they mix stills and video together, right? And that's what, see how this focus is working? That's a really high-end result with a really inexpensive camera. Right, so if you had a wedding, what do you want to look at? Okay, and then this one has a little more to do with fashion, which a lot of our students are interested in. And you know, I don't even mention art, but the whole world of art has always been engaged in video. So I'm talking more about commerce, where the art world, video artists have, you know, been working for half a century doing that. So this is Burberry. I don't know if anyone knows. This is a really expensive, you know.
Chaffey.
Yeah. They have fantastic stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to just link, very pricey. I'm just linking out to their website right now. And what's interesting here is their use of, so obviously this is a place where you can buy these expensive clothes. And I think what's so interesting is here it says, it doesn't say look at our spring catalog, it says watch our spring catalog. And so it's a moving image, right? But it's embedded with the still images. And so it's the same photographer that took this footage with the fashion shoot in the studio. They're not going to hire a film crew to do this. This is the photographer doing this. A, because it's affordable, but B, it's all within the same package. And so this is the sort of thing I want to train our students to do as well. Oh yeah, I want this first. Okay. Am I doing this right, David?
Hold on, I got it.
Okay, he's helping me. I can't work on a PC. I'm not fish out of water. I'm a Mac person. Okay, thanks, David. And then I'm just putting this up for a second. This was the most over-the-top job description I could imagine, where it says you need to know Final Cut Pro, After Effects, Lightroom, Photoshop, you know, and you see a lot of these where companies want almost everything. We can't train our students for all of that, but we can prepare them for most of it. And then another short thing that I did that was really enlightening during my sabbatical that was very different was I was brought on to be a survey. They called me a super surveyor for LA County Museum. They had hired a company from Copenhagen called Red Associates, which if you ever want to look them up, they're fascinating. It's a marketing company that sort of thinks in a really interesting way. This is their business model, and they try and figure out what people want out of the items they're buying and what their business is. And so LACMA got a lot of artists from LA to sort of talk about belonging, but not about belonging to the museum, but how to make the museum belong to them. And it was a fascinating study to be a part of that. If I was teaching, no way could I have done this. They followed me around, they had me do surveys, And I thought it was something really interesting to think about for Chaffey, right? Like how are students not members of Chaffey, but Chaffey belongs to them? So while I was off on sabbatical, I was thinking about those kind of things, and I got the opportunity to be a part of this. And then I just have a couple of videos in closing, and I'm only going to show part of them. But one thing that I became really obsessed with during my sabbatical was I got to read the New York Times every day, and it was so wonderful, and now I don't have time to do it. But I became very engaged with the online part of the New York Times, and in particular, they have a section called Doc Ops, which are documentary opinion pieces, and they're being made by their own in-house photographers who are using the video capabilities of their cameras. And they are so beautiful and so amazing, so I just want to show a portion of this. And in particular this one, which is about a guy who dropped out of society and has roller skated for the last 10 years. And his... Yeah, exactly. And when you watch this, you have to notice the camera angles, that the only way to get this kind of scene is with a small kind of camera that we're going to be using. This is someone on a skateboard with a small 35mm camera on video mode, and you'll see what I mean. I'm just going to show you. If you ever want to go on this webpage, it's amazing. Just go on New York Times Doc Ops. So that camera's right in there, and someone on a skateboard is following him.
I'd say that before slow-mo, I became the typical, institutionalized, educated Western man. In other words, I was driving a BMW to work. I was working long hours. I was paying my taxes and doing everything by the standards of society and so on, just like everybody else in the workforce. And frankly, I intended just to work myself on into oblivion and get old and die. That was pretty much the scenario.
By the way, I'm applying for retirement now. I watched this video. So part of that, you can't do that without this kind of camera technology, right? And then one other little short one, and I'll be out of here in a second.
Hey, ain't no fair. Take them right in, let's do it again. Time to win. Time to win.
The Chicago Cubs have one of the worst records in Major League Baseball. They haven't won a World Series since the days of the Ottoman Empire. Go Wrigley Field for the drawing crown.
From Wrigley Field in Chicago, it's the Chicago Cubs against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay. And so, you know, this is the work done by a journalist, right? And I love that our medium has transitioned into this, and that we can tell stories with stills and video. And in closing, I don't know if anyone's seen this video. It went viral on YouTube. And it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. And he's doing an ad for Volvo steering technology that they say could steer backwards just as well as forwards. So I just want to show you this video in close. Oops, uh-oh, I blew it. There we go.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
backwards. Because at first I thought, oh no, they're going forwards and they ran it backwards. They really did do it backwards. He did have some wires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I read all about it, yeah. And so that was filmed with this camera, the Ari Alexa. We will not, that's a massively expensive camera, we can't afford that. And other ones were filmed with this camera, but we can afford this one. And this is what we're gonna teach our students, and all those New York Times videos were shot with this camera. And I'm so excited to teach this to my students, and I thank you for the time to learn this.
Couple questions?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of argument, how much are these cameras that we get?
Yeah, I was curious about the green.
Oh, okay. So the green one, you can get as low as $500. You can still have video on it. I mean, it's really like, look at our phones that shoot video.
Yeah.
And what's different than the phones though, is that it's the lens quality. So in other words, you can't shoot that kind of thing like the guy with roller skating. It's really the lens, which our students already have. And you attach that technology to it, and that's how you can get the kind of thing that would have been a multi-million-dollar photo shoot for $500–600. Now, when you get up into this one, like the Ari, we're talking more like $50,000–60,000. Yeah, but you know what? In reality, what the students do, and many of my students who have gone on to be filmmakers, they rent this equipment. You don't buy that kind. And it's $700 a day, and they make their film in a day. And if you were making a commercial, that's cheap, right? You could actually, so this is all made independent filmmaking, and it made it possible for journalists to have this kind of technology, and it's changing our world of how we tell stories, for sure. I'm excited about it. A lot of people are like, oh no, we're losing the still photo, but as we add on to these things, we don't lose the old thing. And when you see the stills and video mixed together, it's so beautiful and so poignant.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that I've been shooting video with this for years,
Yeah.
not realizing that why the shots of my grandchildren were moving all the time.
Ah.
I didn't realize it was a video, you can
Right.
go back and forth.
Right.
So, I appreciate the technology. Second, I read your sabbatical report. Fantastic. I mean, we've had a lot of sabbatical reports over the years that we've been here. All of them excellent. Some of them I didn't understand at all, some of the math ones.
I hope you understood mine.
What I really enjoyed about yours were obviously your enthusiasm for the conferences and the way you put it together. But this is the way you put this together. It's of course, identification, photo 408, and then everything that's needed for a student. Because there were times when I was, what am I supposed to? What are the prerequisites? What's
right.
required? What's suggested? Everything is in here, including the Appendix 3 photojournalism and media certificate proposal, and the units and what you need to take to get this done. I thought it was really well put together, and really appreciated this sabbatical report.
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me take it.
Any other questions, comments?
No.
All right, we'll let you run up. I know you have a class.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Ready for the Chino report, right? After that, we have this is your annual report, as you know, for the two other campuses. With visual aid. Oh, what type of visual aid? I meant to ask, what's the agenda of the? Okay,
That's a longer degree than an MA. You get a Master's in Arts and an MFA. The Master's in Arts, MFA is a year longer. Sometimes two.
President McDougall, members of the board, Dr. Shannon, I'm very pleased to present this year's Chino Campus Monitoring Report. First, I'd like to thank Chef Isaac Moritz, who provided your desserts for tonight. Chef Moritz has been with us.
where did you go to high school?
There's a question. Where did you go to high school?
I know the answer.
I went to Montclair High School.
Yes! Thank you, thank you.
Chef Moritz also was the faculty member in charge of the bistro this year. So.
You ever been to Riverside?
Yes, I've been out that way.
What I'd like to do, you do have a written report that I've submitted, as well as the enrollment report from institutional research that you've been provided. But this will cover some of our main events this year. The first one was our Chino Campus Blood Drive. Currently, we've collected 72 units that have saved 216 lives, and we also had a blood drive today, and we were up to 15 units before I left. So we truly are providing a wonderful service to our community as well. We started out the academic year afterwards with Constitution Day, and we were very pleased that our own Dr. Daniel Bentham was our presenter, and he spoke about the U.S. Constitution and our passport to freedom. So we were happy to have him with us. We also had the DPS fair at our campus. We had 25 vendors that participated and brought a number of different auxiliary services, and the bottom right-hand corner is our own Jason Kramer, who is our admissions and records clerk. So he was also there to present. Our next presentation is we participated in our Lunch and Learn series. This was a strategic event collaborated by the CTE Community Collaborative Grant, and working very closely with the matriculation, Amy Neverez, our Dean of Matriculation and Counseling, have put together, so it's a way for counselors from our local high schools to come onto our campuses, meet with our faculty in CTE programs, and then go into our classrooms. And so this year, we had Michael Escoboza, Karen Encinas, Daniel Bentham, and Almano Alvarez participate in the Lunch and Learn series. We also had it at the Rancho campus and at the Fontana campus as well. We again hosted Pizza with the Presidents this year, and our culinary arts students also provided desserts for the students at the campus. This year was our first year to participate in the carved pumpkin contest. The carved pumpkin contest was through this campus, the Rancho campus, Fontana, and Chino, and the first place award was actually for a Chino pumpkin. So we were really pleased to participate in that. We continued that fun event with our Halloween costume contest. And our very own Mr. George participated as a judge, and we actually had faculty members participating in it. And for our first event, we thought we did really, really well, and it was a way to bring spirit and engagement and community to our campus. We want to bring students in and have them participate, but we want to help them transfer out. And so again, we work with the Transfer Center to help them learn about the different opportunities. We had 70 students participate in the transfer fair, and 12 universities came to the Chino campus to provide information about their locations and the transfer rate. And we really thank Jenny Danley for assisting us with that. Also this year, it was very important through Dr. Guerrero that the Chino students were able to participate in the food pantry. And we served 70 students who were able to have Thanksgiving dinner with their families this year. And again, our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Guerrero for making that possible, as well as Susan Stewart. Susan has been wonderful in assisting the Chino campus and really engaging our students also through ASCC to be able to participate and feel a part of the whole Chaffey College District. Again, we have our vocational nursing pinning ceremony. We had 24 students pinned in December, and this year, this semester, we will have 26 being pinned at our location. ASCC is very important on our Chino campus, and they hosted coffee nights on our first Thursdays, and the students are very pleased to see that engagement, that participation, and we thank ASCC for their sponsorship and assistance. We also had ASCC bring us Black History Month celebration, and Julia from Student Activities also came and read poetry by Maya Angelou, and it was a wonderful event. Professor Robert Nazar brought his class down and they participated in the event, and we served barbecue chicken, barbecue ribs, greens, mac and cheese to over 100 Chino students. We like to eat in Chino. Also part of the Chino campus, and we're very, very lucky to have the Chino Community Center. This year alone, we've had 38 rentals, such as quinceañeras, wedding receptions, weddings, nonprofit events, graduation parties, birthdays, and 1 funeral service. And we also currently, our bookings now run every Saturday now through the end of December. So Rita Elias, our event coordinator, works very closely with me, with Daniel Bentham, and also with Karen Encinas. And the three of them are just a dynamic duo, and it gives you an opportunity to see some of the events that we have. We continue with our Easter at College Park. This year we're very fortunate to have Isaac Chef Moritz participate in this event. And we've served over 563 guests in 6 rounds of lunches. This year, Chef Moritz wanted the students to really be engaged in both the front of the house and the back of the house. And so the class, for one session, half the students would be in the kitchen cooking and the other half would be the wait staff. Then the next week, the students would assess what happened, learn, do additional cooking, and then the next week, we'd open again for the bistro, and the wait staff would become the cooks, and the cooks would become the wait staff. And the learning for our students has increased tenfold. And these are some of the different events that we had. So it was a marvelous, marvelous event. We also have EOPS, and we're so fortunate to be able to have the staff participate on our campus, and they again are coming down to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with our students. Academically, we also have increased our fast track classes. We've gone from 21 and 19 last year to 44 and 44 this year. So we're really finding that it is a wonderful opportunity for our students to be engaged in the classes. The success rate has increased. We are trying to put both hospitality management and also the fashion design program in a fast track program all the way and see if we can make that work for our students. Academically, as you know, we have many programs, and fashion merchandising is one of the programs that's located exclusively at the Chino campus, as well as fashion design and interior design. Focusing again on our food service, hotel and food service management, we are now turning that into hospitality management because that's the greater understanding of that. And Daniel Bentham continues to just excel, and we're so pleased to have him as part of our staff. We also continue to work with Cisco Internetworking, the gentlemen that work at the IT Center. We do have a Chino advisory team, and our Chino advisory team had one of our meetings at the IT Center. So we continually have the gentlemen that teach there being engaged, and Almano is the other faculty member at the IT Center working in industrial technology. We do have our vocational nursing program. We have 4 faculty positions right now, and really our students continue to learn and be engaged. As many of you know, the She for You conference is at the Chino campus this weekend, and Michael Escoboza, our vocational nursing coordinator and simulation specialist, will be doing a presentation for the She for Me students. And that concludes my presentation regarding the Chino campus.
Now, what's the name of that? Go ahead and name. Is that Henry?
Yes.
Dr. She.
Are there any questions?
I have
Very
a
good.
question.
Yes.
Could you make a report next time too?
Pardon me?
Could you make a report next month too and bring it?
Oh, bring food? We'd be happy to do it.
Question.
I just had a quick comment. Whenever we go and host events down at Chino, throughout the year, we've always had to come back and say, okay, next time we go, we need to bring more supplies because the students keep coming on in higher numbers. And we keep going back and we keep coming back and saying we need to bring more. And we always underestimate how many students come out and participate at Chino. It's always been my favorite campus, and it's just it's always an incredible experience.
Sure. Well, I was going to do this in community linkage, but I think this gets better here. I was principal for a day at Magnolia Junior High School in Chino. And Magnolia, one of the things that the principal was really kind of jazzed about was the fact that Magnolia, Chino High School, and Chaffey got together as a almost like an online to college type thing on culinary arts. So they're going to offer that elective at Magnolia Junior High School, Chino High School, and then right into Chaffey. So it's just a great program, and I was proud of the fact that that's who I was representing that day. So,
wonderful, thank you. Again, thank you to all of the members of the Rancho community that continue to bring information, services, and participation to the Chino campus, and it allows us to continue to grow and develop our Chino campus. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you. Thank you. Fontana campus, Dr. Richard.
Look, I haven't seen it in 25 minutes. Time in the last 5 years.
President McDougall, members of the governing board, Dr. Shannon, thank you for this opportunity to give you an update on the Fontana campus and present this mining report. All in all, I just want to say that it was a great year in Fontana. We served more students than ever before. You have our written report. We've increased our full-time faculty presence. We've introduced new programs. We've introduced new courses. We've increased our services, including preparations for our Guiding Founders to Success GPS Center to open this summer and fall. We have additional counseling, and we're more engaged in the community than we've been before. Our students, as you know, 67% of our students come from the district. 55% of those are from Fontana. Our top feeder city outside the district is Rialto, as it continues to be. 13% of our students come from Rialto. Bloomington is the next city. So from both the east and the south is where our non-district students are coming. We continue to be heavily female at 62%, and we're 72% Latin and Hispanic. Both African American and Caucasian students are at 9%, and 71%, and this is something that's changed over the last 5 years, 71% of our students are age 24 or younger. We've seen our campus get younger over the past few years. I think we always like this graphic. We see where the Fontana students come from. As you can see everywhere, this is part of your report. Heavily from Fontana, but as far west as our most western border and even in near to 57. As far south as Corona and Norco, with the heavy concentration right in the eastern portion of our district. In terms of our faculty, we added a brand new full-time faculty assigned to the Fontana campus this year with Sonia Diaz. She's a new biology faculty. She joins Lisa Paget from math, Kyle Pennant from English as a second language, Sean Connolly from English, and Wanda Baker from computer science as full-time faculty assigned to Fontana. Additionally, we have Ruth Delgado, who is our counselor, Shelley Marcus, who is our librarian, and Marianne Ross, who is our instructional assistant running our success center. You can see that we're seeing an increase in the full-time faculty presence in addition to those assigned, and the number of sections taught has increased, including the number of sections of full-time faculty teaching. Some of our major events over the last year, the 130th anniversary celebration of which you all attended. We had our disability program and fair, our student elections, Constitution Day, pizza with the president, and we started, along with the Chino campus, the American Red Cross blood drives. We have collected today 177 units. Our next one is May 5th, so if you didn't get to Chino today and would like to donate, we would love to have you. I should note that we have been working with our Red Cross rep. We have an agreement that if we donate 400 units in a year, they'll give a scholarship to the school. So that's kind of our goal, and they're combining the Chino and Fontana numbers. That's one of the things we're working on.
And where are we? How many? What's the count? How many?
It's a brand new year, so whatever Chino had today is the first for 2014. Last year we had 177 units. We had 249 units.
You need 400?
Yes. We'll have about 4 blood drives a year. So you can give a couple times.
At the same time.
They're donating.
That's up to a gallon a year. You close your eyes and no one will know the difference. They have great nurses at the Red Cross. One of our new programs is that we introduced in Fontana this year is automotive technology. And it added a new career technical education program. And we did this through a partnership with Fontana High, where we're offering Chaffey classes on the Fontana High campus in their auto labs. with a Chaffey instructor. We have 24 students who have begun the program, 18 of who, through our fast track program, will complete their general automotive certificate program this year. In addition, we're offering classes that are dual enrollment classes with Montana high school students who are getting the beginning classes in their automotive certificate. So we're seeing a really nice partnership that works through there. There are 3 classes that those students have talked to. We've also been able this year to add a counselor to work with these high school students. And I can tell you from my conversations with them, many of whom hadn't even considered college and hadn't even considered their future. And through the interventions that we've had, the introduction of this, are now actually looking at college and looking at careers in the future that's far beyond anything they had imagined prior to September. So it's been a really great program. We have one student who walked into his vice principal's office in August and said, I only have two classes to graduate. I drive a tow truck. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to UTI to be a mechanic. And the vice principal said, have I got a deal for you? Because our fast track class meets all morning, 7:30 to 11:30. And so this young man will graduate from Fontana High School. At the same time, he'll earn his Chaffey College General Automotive Certificate this year. And will participate in both ceremonies. So we're excited about that. And we're reaching new audiences and new doors. And you can see from the photos, we're reaching underrepresented persons in the field. We also are introducing and having conversations about bringing new programs. We've begun conversations about adding culinary classes to Fontana through partnerships with with Fontana Unified, through both Summit, and I just found out today their adult air program has a kitchen, so we have additional opportunities. Our nutrition and food program, that opens the doors for their whole program within Fontana. And with that, that's my overview of my report.
Good looking. Ones in the middle.
Quick question, I have just real quick off the cut down for you. One of the pictures, several of the pictures of the automotive program seem to have cars with carburetors and air cleaners and older model cars. Are they trained on the latest technology of the electronic cars?
Yes.
Today and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So in many cases, what you see are students working on their own cars, and so they bring their own cars in and work on them. But in working with the School of Business and Applied Technology, they're as up to date as the field is, and they're working great. We have all the equipment that they have here to make sure that the program is consistent.
I think even to respond to your update, the hybrid, there's a fundraising now to try to even go in that direction with the Autotech program.
Yes, thank you. Great reports from both Chino and Fontana campus. Thank you very much, Dr. Hall. What do we do to, Dr. Shannon, what do we have to do to bring these two officially centers into full campus status? And are we able to begin that process?
Well, you have to work with the AACJC, but a lot of it has to do with resources, staff, and programmatic and enrollment. It is a pretty well organized process from AACJC. I know what NARPA went through recently. It's a multi-year process. We can give you the short version of it, but it is going to cost money, and it's something you have to get approved with at some point when you meet that threshold for those indicators to be approved for campus. Dr. Gray, you want to respond to some of the indicators that you're aware of?
Well, in addition to the accreditation concerns that Dr. Shannon mentioned, the Chancellor's Office has specified that there has to be so much acreage available for the campus, the enrollment has to be at a certain level, and things like that. So Chino, of both spaces, Chino would be the most likely to become a campus first, but you're still talking probably a good 10 years to get it up to capacity and go through the accreditation process. Because they have to go through as a candidate for accreditation, then they have to actually be accredited. So it's a very lengthy process to do that. Fontana is limited by the acreage, would primarily be the biggest problem for them.
We can pull for you from AACJC what the requirements are, but they're pretty challenging. And finances are really something that's limited us in the last 5 years when we were moving forward. So we're kind of treading water there. But I think Dr. Guerrero and our staff and faculty are doing a great job of making sure we can put full-time faculty there and doing as much as you can with leadership of Dr. Hull and Dr. Bishop but at the same time, it's going to require a commitment from the college and the chancellor's office, as well as ACJC financially.
Well, I think that's what I'm fishing for. It seems to be that we first have to know where do we have to go in order to achieve that goal. Because I think that there's the beginning, at least talking for myself, for that commitment. I know that Fontana is landlocked, so to speak, so it would probably require a parcel election or a yeah. No, not any minute. Well, whatever. But the point is that we need to think ahead, down the road. And I've heard nothing but, great reports, that we are progressing. We are moving forward. We're offering services, educational services to those communities, and they've been responding. They've been responding very well. I remember when Fontana was, just a building. Now we're talking about several buildings. I just heard that more faculty, full-time faculty have been assigned, that there's resources, there's an demonstration of resources. I just like us to have some hope, steal from, the buzzword, some hope, that that's going to happen within our lifetime, perhaps, okay? So I understand the business about resources, accreditation, but we need to start thinking ahead.
And as of right now, we're considered the major campuses here, and the others are considered centers. And exactly, that's designated by the chancellor's office. We can see exactly what the requirements are, so you can have that, and we all have it in our hands to know what it is to target. Here's what you have to achieve to become a full-fledged campus. We can do that. So we'll check it out.
Thank you, Dr. Bishop. We'll take a little tiny 5 minutes. All right?
Thank you.
Huh? There's one down there. Oh, really?
It's really convenient that there's not an extra chair here. It's like they knew.
I still.
Thank you. This is a better angle. But we do still need something better than this. Andrew calls it a potato picture.
It's good for like close up, like when you're doing the thing the other day.
I feel like we've done enough live streaming that at publications I could probably ask
forever, right?
We will move forward investing a lot of money.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got a big plug today.
Do we?
Yeah, thank you. There's something on, but that's how long it says.
Yeah. Nothing about Jason. And our pacemaker. That one I didn't put in the order for it.
What?
That one I didn't put our pacemaker in the order for it. Can't see We're awesome.
Yes, sir.
Finish your job? Okay, get it past the screen.
They do. You can also get that. I heard there's pictures of Carly and Jessica on the inside.
Oh,
Jason.
The guy with the 3 names? Yeah.
Jason Hunter. He called it like the important.
I didn't know it was curly until I read the
We didn't get them to close those blinds. They're blinding me and they look terrible on
Couldn't talk to him. Did you see the?
No, I haven't got it. Every time I look at Amy Google, it's like looking at like an angel. You get blinded because you've got this little halo on. Can't pin.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Is your machine working? Is your machine working?
Yeah. You guys are live on the internet.
Yeah, we're live, all right.
That's weird. You have to get it at an angle that doesn't have those windows.
I could get it right here. It's just a speaker.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Tired. Good to see you too. Just out of curiosity, are you guys doing public comment? Yeah. About Denise Johnson and art circles. We just want to. If we anticipate, then we can set up beforehand. It's harder when like, oh wait, you know, we need to. Okay. Andrew complained last time. He said the clapping comes out really bad on the onboard mic. So I have it set up as soon as the clapping starts. I drop the volume, and then I back up. We're so professional, right? Do you like our setup?
I like that.
It's fancy, right?
Hey, whatever works, right?
Is there any way we can get those blinds closed? Are you going in charge of this? Every time I look at Lee McDougal, it's like looking at an angel. I'm just blinded by.
That's you'd have to ask someone.
You can't look directly at
I
him.
have no power in anything.
You just
Is it
can't.
volume control?
You can't look directly at President McDougal or Mr. George. You can't look to the side. Kathy, I'm so proud of you.
I'll call the meeting back to order. Yep. Come on, meeting.
Ready? Good.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're at public comment portion of our agenda. If you would like to address our board on any item that's not on the agenda, we ask that you fill out a speaker's request card. I have two, and I'll call upon those two individuals to make their statements now. Remind you, you have 3 minutes, Brian. 3 minutes. When you get 3 minutes, I'm gonna give you the high sign, give you some kind of sign that means you need to wrap it up. Megan Flanders?
Hi, I'm Megan Flanders. I am a former Chaffey student and proud alumni, and and I'm here today to speak on behalf of an organization that we put together to reinstate Denise Johnson as the Art 1 and Art 6 instructor. In your packet that's being passed around, you'll find a printed edition of our change.org petition signed by over 140 supporters at the time I printed this out. It's gaining signatures every day. Denise in no way has asked us to do this. This is the students organically coming together, very upset that she is no longer being asked to teach these particular classes. You'll also find Denise's CV outlining her relevant experience and ability to teach said classes, and testimonials from current and former students who have enjoyed her classes, who have found a valuable resource in them, and a screenshot and a link to the Save Art 6 Facebook group, started in response to the news that she wasn't teaching. That group started separately from several of these. I'm not about to mince words. I'm not about to rehash what other students have said as testimonials, but they're moving and they're important. I know that personally, when I left Chaffey and went to Cal State San Bernardino, I was not offered the Women in Art History course. It's not even a thing that Cal State gives you as an option. And when I was struggling in my own art history classes, I went back to material that I had from Denise's classes. That helped me get through my upper division things. She was still available as a resource to me even after I had graduated. And it seems like a terrible oversight to remove her and only give her one section of class instead of the ones that she loves teaching, that she thrives upon, that she really does teach very well. I know this is not a personal decision, it's not against Denise, but if you're gonna hire somebody, please consider her, please. They're so important to your art history education, and she is a phenomenal instructor. Rocio is also a former Denise student and now goes to Pitzer.
Hi, my name is Rocio Medina. I'm an art history major and studio art major at Pitzer College, currently a junior. The art history course that I took with Denise Johnson, Women Artists, introduced me to art history, and now I've been very successful at it. And I do want to continue to pursue my master's and PhD in art history because of it. It also satisfied the interdisciplinary studies credit and art history credit at Pitzer College. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Question?
I'm sorry, a couple quick. What's I don't figure what the DJ is, but what does DJFC?
Denise Johnson Fan Club.
Oh.
We have to call ourselves.
Okay. And did I hear you say that this course is not offered?
It is not currently offered at Cal State San Bernardino.
So it's not it's not
if
transferable?
you took it here, it's transferable, but if you move on to upper division, it's not available at Cal State San Bernardino. I did not personally look into the other local colleges, but I know that when I transferred, it moved and I was able to skip a couple of art history classes having this one here. It was not available. It is currently not available at Cal State. I looked up that one this morning.
But the units were transferred.
The units were transferable, but they were not offering sections of it at Cal State when I was there.
That's what it's answered. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to try to pronounce the first name because I'll probably Miss Sutton?
Yeah.
Can you pronounce your first name for me?
Ingyang.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't try. You have 3 minutes. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ingyang Sang. I'm from South Korea. I'm currently Chaffey student for 3 years full-time, and finally I transferred to Cal Poly this fall as an accounting major. And today I'm here to talk about my professor, Denise Johnson. She's teaching me general education for history. And Professor Johnson has been teaching at the community college level since 2000 and has experience teaching all but one of the art history courses offered at Chaffey. Professor Denise Johnson really has made an impact on education. We are concerned that college has not scheduled Professor Denise Johnson to teach Art 1, Art 6 classes starting in the fall of 2014. Many students would like to take additional class from her and think that is really important for future students should have be able to experience the quality of the class she has been providing in school. Particularly our 6 Women's Art History is an incredibly important class to other students in gender studies. This part of women's history is usually magnified, if not outright ignored in traditional art history that has been offered. And we are seriously concerned that our department is not offering women's art history, a class that has been offered at Chaffey since the 1980s, and one that provides an opportunity for students to study the historic contribution of women's art. Professor Denise Johnson is a gifted professor, and Chaffey students deserve to learn from her depth of knowledge, the insight she has on art, and its effort on the world. We have the right to take the quality class, and the school just shouldn't have the ability to take her away from us. Thank you, and I collect 560 signatures. Actually, it's coming more, 40 or 60. And it's all concerned former, current, and future students and community members. We all love her and we support her class and the art history and women's art history. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Frida, is that Frida Kahlo? Is that, I mean, are you comparing her to Frida Kahlo, or is that her nickname or something?
No, don't cut Frida is, like, you learn about Frida Kahlo and the women artists in history.
Okay.
So by cutting the class, you're cutting away people's ability to learn about Frida Kahlo, which is one of many.
You don't think Frida's studied in the regular art history class?
No, because she's not an American artist, so you don't learn about her in Art 1 or 5. She's not Western art history, she's not included. So
She's not Western art history?
no, she's not included in Western art history. She's a part of women's art history. She's not included in the Art 5 class. Not in the one I checked.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other cards? Community linkages. Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a quick but important report for you today. Let's see, we completed the Associated Students of Chaffey College elections in the month of April, and I'm happy to say we have 9 incoming ASCC members for next year, as well as my successor, Nemo Tabarti is here with us today. I hope you get a chance to meet him. He'll be here beginning in June. As well as the students also elected Sonia Juarez as the staff.
Can you stand up again?
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yes, we have an announcement that concerns you.
Yeah, I can make that announcement. Now that the board has selected and asked Mr. Gomez to serve as a mentor to our new incoming student trustee.
So that's me.
That's it.
You want to stand up?
You want to stand up, Paul? All right, go ahead, boy.
Thank you. Also, the students elected Sonia Juarez as Staff of the Year from the Student Activities Office, as well as Professor Tim Arner as Faculty of the Year as math professor. Also in the elections, the technology fee was approved by students by a 453 to 348 vote, and we have that on our agenda today, so that's important for us to take into consideration as well. The students were able to participate in multiple events, such as taking a trip to LACMA, the LA County Museum of Art, as well as attend the car show, which was on April 13th, which is also a great event. The Office of Student Activities, led by Susan Stewart, held their final food pantry, and they served students, give them a little bit extra this month to end the month of the year strong. And there's a student invitational art show that's going on right now. It's one of the best I've ever seen. It's in the Wignall. I certainly hope you get a chance to stop by. And let's see, I work with students addressing their concerns a lot. I gave a little bit more attention to that, which I sent an email out with a letter report I compiled to email to the board members earlier this week. And also I got to have another nice breakfast with Mr. Gomez. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Ms. Brooker?
I had the opportunity when I was going to Chino, and I was on Mountain Avenue. And my daughter and I see this huge sign at the school that says, Gary George, Principal of the Day. Congratulations. So, I mean, it wasn't just a little small thing, you know, it was huge. So, congratulations. How many times have you done that? Several?
At least a dozen.
Yes, yes. Well, they still want you back.
Good tenure person.
Yeah. They want them back. I will be going to the inauguration tomorrow at 1 for the students. And congratulations to everyone that won their election. I know how it feels to win. That's nice. So congratulations to everyone. I will be there.
Good.
That's it.
Mr. Gomez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was fortunate to be invited to the 2014 Faculty Meritorious Service Award. I was the guest of Chaffey Brindell, history professor for many years at this particular district. And Arden, how many years total did you say those individuals had? The faculty?
130.
130. About 130 years of service to this district. I also, of course, attended the Alumni of the Year in Athletic Hall of Fame, which, of course, was talks. And then I had breakfast with student trustee Kevin, and I hope that we can continue that practice. I think that it's useful for the student trustee as well as for the board, and so I look forward to continuing that. Now, that doesn't mean you can skip out on me next month, okay, because you're still be around, right? Kevin? Okay. So maybe we could also invite the new student trustee too, if you, that's okay with you. And then, of course, the faculty lecture of the year, that was awesome, very awesome, especially since it was reported right after that about the founding of this planet that might be Earth-like. I thought it was kind of cool, right? Yeah. So, she's a real star. There's no doubt about that. She's not here today, is she?
She was in the hall early. She was early.
Was she? Oh, too bad she's not here. But she
said we're not alone.
Pardon? That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she put together this little bookmarker right here, you know, to sort of educate us, and, which I thought was useful. And yes, are we alone in the universe? Search for another Earth.
I apologize.
So,
I gathered a bunch of those, but I gave them to my grandchildren. Sorry.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Dr. Iceberg, Joanne Iceberg, professor of astronomy. Yeah, I've had the good fortune of listening to some of her lectures, and I must tell you that I'm always awed, you know, by her enthusiasm and certainly her knowledge and the connection that she's able to make with the listener. I mean, you just want to drop everything and take off for a planet. You know, or at least look for one, you know, whatever it is. But she's just terrific, you know, she's a star, she's a superstar, you know. But anyway, so that was a real experience for me. And then this past weekend, I attended a meeting of the California Community College Trustee Board in Sacramento. And I just wanted to share with you quickly some bills that we discussed. One has to do with AB 1927. Hopefully our government relations is listening. AB 1927, Frazier. It has to do with student financial aid, more specifically debit cards. You know, there have been issues with debit cards and with one company in particular. Thank you. And so somebody, a legislator, has taken that on as trying to clean up the act because it seems that students were being abused and misused when it came to the use of their debit cards. And then also lots of discussion about accreditation. Lots of discussion about accreditation. Focused in this instance on San Francisco. And it's interesting how things work because the CEOs who had met before the trustees sent a letter off to accreditation asking for 2 more years for San Francisco. San Francisco's accreditation is going to end June 30th unless things change. So they did that, and of course the trustees, sort of after the fact, in my opinion, decided to do the same thing too. Now, you know, trying to understand the impact on students, because that's where the focus should be. I think their enrollment has dropped from 90-some thousand to 70-some thousand. We have to have some fairness here too, because as I understand it, they're trying to reduce the impact to the rest of us, okay, to the rest of the remaining districts. So a proposal's been made to give them additional monies. So somebody asked at the CCCP board meeting, at my meeting, they asked, well, what about Compton? You know, Compton didn't get additional money, they got a loan, you know, which they had to pay back. There was a fairness here in San Francisco, but nobody intended when I say that. But that was, you know, part of the discussion. So we will see if San Francisco is able to get beyond June 30th. We will see. I'm just concerned about the impact on the students, you know. And then the other bill had to do with, we don't have to worry about this, Dr. Shannon, but there are some districts that have offer winemaking and brewery certificates, right? And of course, some of those students might be underage. So the question has come up, well, can they participate in those programs? And this bill would allow that to occur. If you were,
but not drink it.
Exactly. Well, you have to taste it a little bit, right? I guess, right? And then the final bill that I thought would be applicable to us, SB 1391, and perhaps Ms. Coronas will give us an update later, but SB 1399, Author Hancock, would provide monies to districts like Chaffey for inmate education programs. So, you know, that's an issue with some. One of the arguments that I have here is that opponents question the value of providing educational opportunities to persons who are incarcerated. So, of course, we know that what our experience has been, and so it's difficult to kind of understand how do you rehabilitate an individual.
What was that bill?
It's SB 1391, Hancock, and we're on record as supporting, CCCT is supporting it, and also the CEOs, and I don't know what the current status is. And then finally on the bills, there's an email that you all received, I'm sure today, when you opened it up from CCLC, that what's his name, Marty Block's bill for baccalaureate has passed another committee. You know, so it's moving along. You know, set up a pilot program, etc. So, and then one final thing, the online to college 2014 graduation celebration on 22nd of April was outstanding. Was outstanding for different reasons. First of all, it was well attended, not just by the graduates, but certainly by their parents. And that's so important, so very important. Dr. Shannon was there, the superintendent from Chaffey Joint High School District was there, the principal from Montclair was there, and God bless them, the mayor and all the city council was there. There, which I thought was very, very indicative of their support. And this is the online to college program, and I have statistics, but we'll share those later, or maybe somebody later will do that. But as I told those students, I had a chance to say a few words to them. I said, you know, you can look at me because I certainly look like you, first of all. A little bit older, but certainly I look like them. And we may even share the last surname. I have a surname. But anyway, I wanted to encourage them to let them know that they have lots of community support. You know, people are out there rooting for them. As I said to them, generally when I talk to a group of young people, I always start by asking, how many of you are going to be attending college? I said, I'm not going to answer that question because I know you are going to be attending college. I don't care if it's JP or any others, but you are going to attend college. I know that. But anyway, I want to also recognize the hard work of Peggy Cartwright, wherever she is. Peggy puts it together and very well. And there at the end, of course, she also cuts cake. you know, as part of the celebration. She does a very good job. But I just want to say how much I appreciate her and the rest of the staff who worked so hard to make this a real true K-12 partnership, city partnership. I think it's a great example, great model. Anyway, thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Roberts?
Thank you. First of all, I want to report that I am not listening to football nostalgia. On April 1st, I went Representative Chaffey at the Travelers Aid Luncheon. On the 3rd, the Alumni of the Year dinner, and it was very well attended, very well put on, as always. Ontario Police Museum Board meeting on the 18th, Western Family Counseling Luncheon on the 16th, the PRISM Awards on the 8th. Women of Distinction by Congresswoman Liu was given to Sandy Forney for her work in the community, and I attended that with building from Montclair. I attended a meet and greet at the home of Gary Ovitz for Bob Dutton. Mr. Alejandro was running for school supervisor, and Miss Gooch was running for Congress in Miller's place. And the basketball luncheon last night was awesome.
Mr. George?
Okay. As Dr. Hall mentioned, we love food in Chino, and on the 31st was the Taste of Chino Valley, and a lot of food, and we had a good time. It's always well done by the Chino Valley Chamber. On the 3rd, the Alumni Hall Athletic Hall of Fame dinner. Great job, Nick. I think it was one of the best ones we've had. On the 8th, the Chino Institute for Women Citizens Advisory Board meeting. Board reviews. Gave a very glowing report. A lot of new projects. She's sounding more and more like Don Davidson every time that she comes in. So it's looking really good for our program there, as well as other programs for the attendees of that association. On the 9th, attended the Child Development Center. I think it was the week of the child.
Young child.
The week of the young. And that was really a lot of fun. That was great. I mean, I'm walking on the campus, basically trying to figure out which way to go, and then I hear the bagpipes, and I say, okay, I know where it is. And the bagpipes led the children to the steps of the library, and it was just well done. And the kids all had a great time. I think they were really glad that Dr. Shannon and I finished speaking so they could run and get their ice cream. Like, just finished, we're out of here. On the 9th, the Seroptimus Prisms Award Luncheon. And congratulations to, I'm say the name right, Leah Malview, for she's a Chaffey student who received one of the awards, and to EOP's very famous Ruth Collins, who also received an award. And I know the luncheon was well done too, except for Lee Hassling, the Seroptimus. And they made us.
We had to do quack like a duck.
Yeah, quack like ducks because of you. For David mentioned, and Paul had it was excellent. One of the best lecture of the year events. Joanne Eisberg, one of the best. Okay, on Are We Alone in the Universe? Search for Another Earth, and it was really exciting. It was just I even understood it. The telescopes, all the stuff that she talked about was just very infectious, and had a very good time. I think she had a very good time doing it also. The 9th, another RDA meeting with the city of Chino. I mentioned that one. The 18th, had a really fun evening with the phase 2 with the classified senate at President McDougall's home. We met for a casual conversation, and it was I think we heard a lot of stuff that was said, and we listened to a lot of stuff that was said, and have passed it on. But it was a great evening, and again, thank you, Lee, for for hosting that. Appreciate that. Let's see, on the 19th, represented Chaffey at the Pomona Valley Workshop PBW 5K fundraiser for adults with disabilities. Excellent event. On the 22nd, I apologize to Peggy, or I did in advance. I was unable. I think it's the first online to college event that I have missed, and it was. And I just hated not being there, but I had another event that I had to attend. And then on the 23rd, this is the 24th. Last night, the basketball dinner, the recognition dinner. And I took some notes on this because this is basically what we're all about. You know, it's academics and athletics, and hopefully mixing the two. And that really happens with at least the basketball team. There were 14 players. 5 of them are freshmen who will be coming back next year, and one of the 5 is an online to college scholarship recipient that went all the way through from fourth grade to and is at Chaffey now and playing basketball as one of the freshmen who will be coming back next year. And I just think that program works, and this is one of the reasons that we do it. The other players that were the sophomores that will be leading us, most of them have at least 3.0 3-point averages, up to 3.4. 2 of them are going to Simon Fraser College from here. 2 of them have full scholarships to other locations. 1 to Western Oregon, 1 to Southern Utah University, and it just shows that we always talk about recruiting locally, and we love that. We love the excitement of watching the local players play, but the other excitement is watching them graduate, transfer, whatever, and that's what's happening with this program. Even Jonathan Briones, the manager, he's graduating and going to Cal State Fullerton. So, and I hate to lose Jonathan, but it's just that's what we're here for, and really appreciated the Coach Klein pointing all this out at that banquet last night, and just shows that that's what Chaffey is all about, world-class institution. Thank you. That's it.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I just wanted to apologize. I have to leave early, but I'm giving a workshop for Senator Torres on women in law enforcement.
Have fun, drive safely.
Thank you.
Good to know. Okay, couple things. Dr. Shannon, do you have some introductions you'd like to make?
Yes, we have some honor students, speaking of academics. We had our basketball team and other teams here, and I think it's really appropriate for us to have honor students who are the cream of the crop here at Chaffey be introduced tonight. And Dr. Burrell, you want to introduce Dr. Sparks, talk about our cream of the crop students who've been patiently waiting to be introduced.
Hello, good evening, President McDougall, members of the board, and Dr. Shannon. It is with pleasure that I introduce firstly Dr. Leona Fisher, who is the director of our honors program at Chaffey campus. She has been at Chaffey College since 2005. She started in 2008 as a full-time faculty member of the English department. She has taught every one of the English courses that we have offered at Chaffey College, every level. And she's also written the curriculum for and teaches the Latino literature courses here at Chaffey. Tonight she joins us as the director of the honors program that she's been in charge of for 4 years as a director. And she is also the co-coordinator of our Fuente program at Chaffey. Leona received her PhD in English from UCR in 2010. Voted against her. And it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Leona Fisher, who will introduce our students.
Thank you, Dean Schwartz. Hello, everyone.
I have with me a couple of students here tonight. We had a few more, but being honors students, they had to run off to class. Our first student here, this is Sarush Darai. Sarush's paper at the statewide honors conference was called Incentivizing Human Nature, the Blowback from Monetary Motivators. This was a paper that he worked on in his economics class, and for which Sarush was awarded at the conference an Exemplary Achievement Award. This is Deja Darrington. She also worked on a paper in her economics class. Her presentation at the conference was entitled Free Healthcare for All, Step Right Up, the Reality of England's Universal Healthcare System, and she did an outstanding job at the conference. She's also wearing her conference t-shirt. We had other presenters as well. As I mentioned, I'd like to mention one in particular. Stacy McFarland represented Chaffey in the poster presentation section. Stacy's work, which she worked on with Professor Arden Alger, is going to be published in the National Student Honors Journal. It was a very, very competitive process for Stacy, and she's representing Chaffey well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, President McDougall, that Dr. Fisher's worked with the Women on the Move Network when they were asking for mentors in Chaffey College. They went to Dr. Fisher and her honor students to work with the 13, 14-year-old young women. She's done a great job.
That's good. Good question. That's a good comment. There's an honors banquet coming up, right? Honors program banquet, right?
That's right.
All of us have RSVP, right?
April 30th, Wednesday night, we're celebrating 40 outstanding students this year.
In Chino, right?
In Chino, at the community center.
Just a question of difference. Phi Theta Kappa.
Yes.
Is there a relationship between the honors program and the other?
We share many of the same students, but Phi Theta Kappa is a national honor society that's more akin to a club on campus, whereas the honors program is part of the Chaffey College institution. We share many of the same students, but the requirements are slightly different for each. Phi Theta Kappa students have to have a GPA of 3.5, have to pay a fee. The requirements for the honors program are a little different, and of course it's free for students.
I see. Okay, thank you.
In case I forgot, I will be there.
Thank you. We can't wait to see you.
Okay, meanwhile, back to community linkages. It's my turn, and I won't repeat what's been said. I did some of what everybody did, so there you have it. Could we, Dr. Shannon, we had a speaker last week, we had a couple of speakers this week. We had communicated from our student trustee about this Art 6 and Denise Johnson. I don't want to revisit the decision, but I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and understand the process of what happened and how we got here. And it's okay not to like the decision. I'm okay with that. But I just want to make sure everyone understands how we got here. Can someone go over that for us?
The process?
The process.
Okay. You want it now, or you want?
Yeah, now.
Okay. All right. Dr. Guerrero, you want to talk about it?
To fully understand the process, you have to go back to before Prop 30 passed. When we built the schedule for last year, we built it before we knew whether Prop 30 was going to pass. And our shared understanding at that time was we were going to be conservative, and we weren't going to offer more classes than we knew we were going to get reimbursed for from the state. So we built it small. Prop 30 passed in the fall, and our plan was to offer a large summer session for 2013 that would help us make up what we needed to receive all of our base funding. We fell short of that number, so we overbuilt it for this year, 13-14, so we would have enough to make sure we captured our base plus any growth money that would be available. As we were building 14-15, we can't sustain the size we are right now without getting refunded by the state. So we had to reduce back to our normal base level, which is what we've done. So the deeds were directed to, they were given FTES projection targets to hit, and that meant that across the campus, departments and schools had to cut classes. So several adjuncts were affected. It was not a personal decision. It was not about any of those factors. And through the scheduling process, the departments, the faculty members, and the deans decide which courses they're gonna offer and what the staffing is gonna be. The issues with, so that's why the cuts had to be made, was because of that whole 3-year process. With regard to Art 6, there's some concern that Art 6 is an upper division course and community colleges are prohibited from offering upper division. So that the department wanted to take Art 6 off the table while they look at if it really is upper division and what parts of Art 6 could be incorporated into other courses. The final factor affecting this is that the State Academic Senate and the Chancellor's Office put together the minimum qualifications for all community college faculty members and administrators. Up until this most recent revision, the art qualifications were all lumped into one. In this most recent revision of what's called the disciplines list, the art history segment was actually pulled out of the traditional art grouping and given its own special requirements. So no longer can you meet the requirements for art in general and you can be able to teach art history. We've also had to do a review of everyone who's been teaching art history to see who does and does not meet these new minimum qualifications. So that's the process that happened. It was a combination of factors: the scheduling piece, the question about whether Art 6 is upper division, and then the minimum qualifications changing.
What about the other part of this? What about the new transfer degree requirements?
That's true. That's another part of it. With SB 1440, the required transfer degrees that we were legislated to do, Art 6 is not part of the ADT for art history.
Right. And then the other understanding too is that this course has not been deleted, right?
Right. That's why the art department took it off the table, because they're going to be looking at can we offer it as is, or do they need to put it into other elements of it, into other courses? And once they make those decisions and go through those curricular processes, then they'll either delete it or do what needs to be done to modify it.
But all this has ownership of the faculty and the department, working with the deans, with the administration. And that's been done according to our process, and that's no different than any other program.
Thank you. That is clear as a bell to me. So I just asked the question. I just wanted everybody to be on the same page.
Appreciate that. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Ray.
All right, moving right along, legislative update.
There are a lot of bills in play, and going back to a comment that Mr. Gomez mentioned, the baccalaureate legislation, which is still pending. There have been some modifications to get out of committee, and I got a report which I can share with the board and the staff about that, which has some strings attached with it, very limiting. So it would really cripple that bill on what's coming out of committee at this point in time. So anyway, my comment about the baccalaureate.
Thank you, sir. President McDougall, board members, Dr. Shannon. That's right. Right now, the Chancellor's Office and the CCLC are either working with or closely monitoring more than 120 bills that will somehow impact community colleges. So in the last couple of weeks, especially in the last couple of weeks, they're very active. So they're changing either on a daily basis or weekly basis. I'm working really close with both the Chancellor's Office and the CCLC, so we're expecting to have a more concise list and update of this 120 bills, 120 plus, but mid of next week. So as soon as we have all this information, I will make sure we'll make it available to you all. All of this information is information only. They're expecting, especially the CCLC, expecting to have some action required from us for AB 1451, concurrent enrollment, within the next couple of weeks. That bill is right now at the Assembly Education Committee, and is expected to go from the Assembly Education to the Senate Education Committee. And they're concerned that at the Senate Education Committee, they will have some hesitation or resistance. So they're working not only reaching to, or planning to reach to community colleges, but K-12 school board members. And so as soon as that information becomes available, I will be happy to get back to you. And Mr. Gomez, I will be pleased to come back with details of the bills that you did mention. Today, though, I would like to share my legislative report. We had at the beginning of the meeting two guest speakers. Nonetheless, one of them had to leave. It was Maria Cáceres from Senator Torres. She has a program running with our trustee Roberts right now. But I'm happy to welcome Ashley Jones from Assemblywoman Brown, who will be sharing with us some remarks related to education. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Ashley Jones, as previously mentioned, and I'm representing Assemblywoman Cheryl Brown. We're from the 47th Assembly District, which includes Colton, Fontana, Grand Terrace, Rialto, the southwest parts of San Bernardino, and the communities of Bloomington and Muscoy. Chaffey College has a satellite campus in the city of Fontana, which is within our district. And I'm here to provide a legislative report on behalf of my member. I just want to thank Member Gomez for mentioning those very critical bills. And once those bills hit the Assembly floor, I'll be able to provide an update as to how the Assemblywoman voted on those. But today, I'm going to speak about higher education bills that were introduced last year, but are still going through the process. So during the course of the year, Assemblymember Brown has supported a number of higher education bills that would benefit our community. First, I'm going to talk about AB 13. It was introduced March 2013. It requires a student who was a member of the armed forces stationed in California on active duty for more than 1 year immediately prior to being discharged to be exempt from paying non-resident tuition for the length of time that he or she lives in the state, up to the minimum time necessary to become a resident. And AB 13 is currently in Senate rules. AB 684, also introduced March 2013, authorizes the California Workforce Investment Board to provide grants from state and federal funds to accredited institutions that provide instruction to persons who are preparing for the General Education Development Test, so that more Californians may pass the GED test and become eligible to receive financial aid to advance in post-secondary education or vocational training. AB 684 is currently in Senate Appropriations. AB 146, this is the last bill I'm going to share with you, will extend the 5% cap on concurrent enrollment to allow high school students to enroll in community college summer courses. The current law prohibits a principal from recommending more than 5% of the total number of students in the same grade for community college summer session attendance. And AB 1146 is currently in Senate Appropriation. And so I imagine that once the governor approves the budget for 2014, many of these bills will move forward. But in the meantime, please urge your senator to move these bills forward. And I just also want to remind you that the middle class scholarship is available. This program aims to look for new ways to provide funding for college, and it's for California families making less than $100K per year. It's a state-funded program, and it's geared to students, your students, that are transferring to UCs and CSUs. And in other news, I just want to bring to your attention that Assemblywoman Brown is co-hosting a workshop focused on appointments training on Thursday, May 1st from 6 to 8 at Fontana City Hall. Our guest speaker is Mona Pascal, one of the most powerful women in state government. She serves as Governor Brown's appointments secretary and advises the governor on appointments to boards and commissions held at the state level. We would greatly appreciate your support of this effort because the Inland Empire is highly underrepresented, and we need more Inland Empire voices to come together so that we can get the resources that we deserve. Our district office is in San Bernardino, downtown San Bernardino. Address is 290 North D Street, Suite 903, And our phone number is 909-381-3238 for those who would need anything from us. And I do have some brochures and a few flyers for the appointments training that I'd like to share with you. Thank you. And if there's any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer.
Mr. Gomez?
Yes, thanks to the Assemblywoman for her interest in the college, the Chaffey College specifically. And I don't know if you were here to hear the report from the Fontana campus, but you might also point out to her that over 1,000 students attending here are residents of Rialto.
Okay,
You might want to pass
excellent.
that on to her.
All right.
And then when it gets to her desk, SB 1391, Hancock, I have no doubt that hopefully she would consider supporting, and I'm speaking for myself, of course,
Okay.
that she would support 1391 because of the impact that it has on our district.
All right, I'll let her know.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Foundation.
Yes. Yes, comments when Nick comes forward. We are in the process of applying the executive director position. We also have some potential members that Ms. Ovid and I are having lunch with next week and the following week. And we're going to bring them on board this foundation in the June meeting. All right, Nick, come up here on that.
Thank you, President McDougall, members of the board, and Dr. Shannon. I have a brief report this evening, even though it looks long, I'll be brief. First of all, I want to thank the board for attending and for the kind words about the alumni dinner. Those of you that were there know it was an extremely emotional evening, and we were proud to be able to host that evening. We did receive great feedback from guests and honorees, and we have lots of follow-up opportunities with our honorees that we're exploring, including speaking events and just being more a part of the campus life. So I do want to thank the board for attending. I want to thank Athletics and the Hall of Fame Committee, of course the marketing department for all of their support, and then the Breeze for sharing the story about the alumni dinner with the students. I think that was a very important message to get through. Second on the report, we also hosted Grad Fest, which this is the 5th year we've hosted Grad Fest, and as you know, this is a partnership with the bookstore. So I'd like Jared Seha, Director of Auxiliary Services in the bookstore, to come up and help me explain a little bit about some of the successes we experienced at Grad Fest this year. Primarily from the foundation side, it is a membership drive, and we do promote the Grad in the Box, which is Alumni Association membership with a number of incentives. But it's one example of a very strong partnership, and so I'd like Jared to talk a little bit more about some of the other partnerships.
Thank you, Nick. President McDougall, members of the board, Dr. Shannon. GradFest really for the bookstore and for Alumni Association is really one of our proudest partnerships. It's a celebration that we love, but we certainly don't do it alone. We get a lot of support, a lot of valuable help from ASCC, Student Activities, the Career Center, Transfer Center, Campus Police, Marketing, Financial Aid, M&O, and IT. So really collaborative effort. Over 400 of our graduating students came out to GradFest this year, including many other, or in addition to many other underclassmen that came out to join in the festivities. We had companies there looking to hire our graduates. We had institutions, universities that were still accepting transfer students there to talk to our grads, as well as community organizations that were offering scholarships to help them out financially. GradFest 2014 was our inaugural introduction of pictures with the president, so Dr. Shannon did come out and take some photos with some real excited graduates that we have, and they are available on our Facebook page if you want to see each and every one of them, so very nice pictures there. Some of the data for Mr. Philpott back there, over 94% of the survey respondents, students, responded that GradFest did certainly help them prepare for the commencement ceremony, so we're happy about that. And then our partners are consistently telling us that we are the best community college GradFest celebration that's out there, period. In addition to some of them commenting, there's a few universities that can learn a few things from us. So we're really proud of that. It's a great event. We have a lot of fun. I was quite sunburned afterwards, but we enjoyed it. And Nick, thanks for the partnership and look forward to next year. Any questions?
Thanks, Jared. Again, it's a partnership we're extremely proud of, and we want to just thank everyone for being involved with that. And Dr. Shannon, thank you for being out there in the summer. Next on the report is the Career Center on campus hosted an event this week called Get Connected, and it was to introduce students to social media, or actually professional networking opportunities, which should say. And David Schlanger, I want to thank David for including the Alumni Association in that event. We were able to promote our own online mentoring program, which is a partnership with the Career Center, as well as our LinkedIn groups and some of those activities. So we really appreciate letting students know that we are out there. Lastly, on the report, there are just a couple of save the dates that I've included in previous months' reports, and so I won't go over those, but it's just commencement and JP Day at the Electronic Day.
The doctor is not.
This is just the alumni activities, alumni office, and so that is a little more foundation.
That's more foundation.
We could invite the alumni.
I guess we could, yeah.
We will have alumni playing in the golf tournament, I can say that.
The determined date is June
22nd, or 23rd. It's Monday the 23rd. We have another event we're planning for the 22nd.
So if you haven't gotten your, I know the board got key signs, you got key signs, sponsorships.
Thank you so much.
Foursomes.
And you have the checks, right?
I do have the checks. That is one area of responsibility I will be taking forward. I do have the checks for T signs and your forces. Thank you so much.
Maybe the officer back there can answer for you. That's big checks.
Trustee Brewer wants the team. I know one of the A team members is right here. Come on.
Absolutely. And that tradition has continued. Thank you so much.
They always win the prize, too. That's true.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Nick. Closed session actions?
Yes, President McDougal, other members of the governing board, members of the audience. Today, April 24th, the governing board took the following action. I will mention it under section D and E in two different votes. First, under section D, by a 4-0 vote. One item was pulled by the administration request, this is item 1. Items 2 through 9, the board approved that by a 4-0 vote. Under section E, public employment of the closed system agenda, approved items 1 through 2. It was under a 5-0 vote. So 4-0 on the first item B, and then 5-0 under E, 1 through 2. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Monitoring reports, any comments, questions, discussion? Okay, public hearings. Seems to be one here. Intent to enter into energy services contract.
You need more discussion?
You need any more? I guess I'll open the public hearing. All right, and the item is on the agenda. Any discussion? You have a presentation to make? Recommendation, hire these people, basically. All right, close the public hearing, and then we need a motion. Let's take a vote. Really? A motion to open it? I can't do it as the president?
Open the public hearing.
Second. Wait a minute. You need a motion to open the public hearing?
Well, we just did.
No, not to open it. Because otherwise you could say no.
Say no,
right?
yeah.
I know, so-
Yeah, all right, but we have one just for, all right, we have it, all right, discussion. Any discussion? Do I need a motion to close the public hearing?
Yes, I
Okay,
I move.
close the public hearing, okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, now can we vote on the item?
Yeah.
On the action agenda.
You see, that's the thing, this has come up before, Mr. President, it's come up before, and I've always said it's got to follow, you know, otherwise it's all clumsy, right? Now it's an agenda.
Consent now. They will do that.
Or you could always pull it, you could pull the agenda item and do it now.
See, you and I, we're used to doing this, we just open, we close, we vote on it.
You want to pull it and vote on it separately?
I'll bet lunch, so we don't have to do it this way.
You don't.
Legally, okay, all right. So it's on the regular consent item.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm on the consent agenda. Were there any items pulled? Anybody want to pull an item off of your consent
Yes,
agenda?
there's 2 items, and then also we have some late items, so those have to be pulled.
Those have to be.
Yes. Can anybody enlighten us which ones those were? You see my
The modifications to the agenda,
Uh-huh.
revisions. Well, we just explain, one of the action item is the energy contract, and we can have Kim Erickson sitting for Lisa, talk about just the modification to that. It's on your, agenda. Right here, we can have her talk about it. It's right there, and the item was just modified a little bit.
Well, I think the question of the floor is on the consent. Were those items on the consent?
No, this is an action item.
Those are action items.
So Okay, then it's an action item.
Next.
So anyway, okay, are you still on the consent?
So you're telling me that there's nothing on the consent?
Well, you're asking if we're going to move on that item, and I said that I like to pull, two.
Item 2, right? All right, so I'll entertain a motion on the others. We'll pull 2.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Move second, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the one pulled item.
I want to pull 3F. The fee schedule update, student technology fee.
All right.
Okay. Yes, first of all, again, congratulations for passage of the student technology fee. And I had expressed my concern, however, that those fees collected, that it be identifiable and transparent and all that and all that and all that. And I've been assured by the superintendent president that in fact, what I refer to as a fund has been set up to capture those monies in order to be able to satisfy this issue of transparency.
It's designated.
Designated, right?
Yes, like parking fees, absolutely.
Okay.
They will be segregated out and to be able to report on it. In fact, I've asked that we have a mid-year report, give it to the board, and our internal auditor is working with us to set it up protocol with the business office.
It's $8 a semester, right?
For the major semester, and then $5 in the summer.
Summer.
Okay, and then the anticipated revenue.
We're estimating, what, 250 to 325 million, I think this is the estimate. And they're working with IT as well as with some activities to put this together. This is the estimated revenue for the year.
Yes, the estimated revenue, and the first expenditure, or one of the first expenditures, is going to be to expand Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
In all campuses, all 3 campuses.
Melanie, you want to submit that? I think all 3 locations, yes, that was committed.
Yes, we will be, the very first thing that we will be doing is expanding the bandwidth of the student wireless network. And then we will also be upgrading the network and then expanding the wireless access points to include the common outdoor open areas.
That seems to be very important to the students, the Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kevin and I had a piece with the president, and that was one of the main things that they had mentioned to both us and to the student steward and Dr. Real.
If I may, Mr. President, just to echo the concerns, I think we're talking of hundreds of thousands of dollars from students who many times have difficulty buying food during the day. So just another reason to express the student perspective that I'm glad to see there's transparency in this, and I'm glad to see that it's going directly towards students and benefit them only.
Well, good to be an eye on it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Yeah, I was cautioned by our student newspaper to be very conscious.
Oh, really?
I think Val's already gone. Yeah, Val's still here.
Oh.
Right, Val?
No iPads for Dr. Shannon.
All right, anything else on that?
No, thank
All right, somebody, you want to make a motion to approve it?
Yeah, I move approval. I move for approval. Second.
Move second, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And then the other item, Mr. President, was 3H, temporary interfund borrowing.
Yes.
When I first saw that, I had to take a double look. But in reading it further, it seems that we're doing this as a precaution.
Right.
It doesn't mean that we're not doing well.
Right.
Having come off, 3 to 4, whatever years we did, that's why it picked up my ears. But then I saw a word there that tempered that feeling. So I'm comfortable. Unless I missed something, I'm assuming that this is just a precautionary.
Yeah, you're correct. We do this every year, and we do it just as a precaution to make sure that we can meet all of our obligations. We haven't actually had to use this for a number of years, but again, it's just put in place as a precaution.
Okay.
There's a tool for us to have in case you need it.
That's correct.
All right.
I move for approval.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right. Are we on G?
Yes.
Okay. Business fiscal affairs approved and authorized energy services contract
Yes, and we need to explain a little bit about this project and where you're thinking that. Yes, Melanie, whichever one. Just give you an idea of what we're doing. I think it'll be helpful.
Certainly. President McDougall, members of the board, Dr. Shannon. This particular project is part of the Proposition 39 funding that we are proposing we move forward with. This board item is to upgrade and change out the building automation systems in 3 buildings, the Wharton Hall building, the original administration building, and the vocational student services building. We have 13 buildings on the Rancho campus that currently operate on the Andover business automation system or energy management system. That particular system is antiquated. It's approximately 20 years old and does not give maintenance and operations personnel the ability to easily control and manage the climate controls in the building, as well as there really is no graphical representation. So it's very difficult, if not next to impossible, to see at any given point in time what's going on in a building, let alone a room in a building. So this proposal is to change out that system with another system that does come with a very friendly, user-friendly graphical user interface. It is BACnet compliant and uses LawnWorks, which is really an open protocol system. So basically, moving forward with this particular system gives us the ability to move away from relying on particular proprietors such as Andover or Siemens. This system is controls agnostic, if you will, so you can operate different equipment from different manufacturers all under one system.
Sure.
I'm looking, I had spoken earlier with the city about this particular item. I just want to make sure that my thinking is in line with what I think this is supposed to be all about, and that is that Prop 39, as you all know, was just recently passed, and as a result, monies have been made available to community college districts to do certain things, and those certain things, as far as I know, are in the area of sustainable energy, right? And we have a sustainable policy that we adopted, the board adopted, a couple of years ago. So my concern was, does this match up, with that particular policy? And especially since, in looking at the staff report, at the beginning there says support boards in policy, statement policy, okay? And nowhere do I see anything whatsoever about the sustainability policy. There's a reason for doing that, and we've been insistent that occur. So that sort of raised again my ears and my thinking. But I've been assured that these items that it's in conformance with the Prop 39 monies. So I guess I should be relieved, but I just wish that next time that it's up there right at the top.
It's consistent with our policy, especially with respect to having a neutral footprint relative to carbon footprint. But I think when the state develops their own propositions, they don't go to each institution to see what their policies are. They assume you want to conserve energy. And I think we're trying to do that in terms of trying to do this fitting with their requirements as well. And they don't, some of the requirements they put out, you've got to fulfill what they say you have to get it done within a certain specified time. Like, for example, this year, these funds must be expended by June 30th.
Right.
And so what are the low-hanging fruit issues you can attach to this policy to get it done? For example, you can't do administrative things. Like, we have other things we want to do with the gym committee, for example, around sustainability policy.
Right.
The things we want, we can't have the amount of funds that we need to get those things done.
Right.
But we still have to fit with the state requirements, what those things are.
Right.
So.
I'm not sure that.
You know, I don't think,
Oh, it's not fitting with
I'm
what's
probably
going-
not, you know, being as articulate as I should be and can be, but, what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to respond to the question, which under our model of governance, is always or should always be, what does our policy say? Okay? Well, in this particular instance, what it says is that our policy says that we have adopted a position on sustainability, you know, for the district. Prop 39 supports that policy. And consequently, when I saw this, it didn't tie, you know, the two together. This talks about supports and complies with policies, conflict of interest, I don't know what that is, purchasing, contracts, capital construction, but nothing whatsoever about sustainability. Because there's been a concern in this district about sustainability. And certainly the board expressed that because they wouldn't have adopted the policy, right? So all I'm trying to do here is to try, Mr. President, to tie them together so that if anybody out there, you know, ever questions, we could say, hey, it supports our sustainability policy. You know, and we also, in talking to Mr. Dickey there, that we also need to pride ourselves that evidently not all districts applied for these monies, but we did, and we were successful. I think that's really great, Dr. Shannon. Thank you. Appreciate that. You and your staff, because you were persistent and you were assertive and you were able to get the funds. So not everybody did.
Yeah.
So I want to compliment you.
Our staff here and also Dr. Panetto for moving in that direction. We will make sure we can wordsmith this so that it fits more with our values. We get the message.
Mr. George.
I think this has already been answered. Like, with one of yours, but just want to make sure. The $320,000 is coming from Prop 39 funds, it's not coming from us at all?
Right, the actual contract amount is $143,000. This was the board item that was walked in, so you should have a revised agenda.
That's what I mean, but it's just coming, the money's, it's not, because it says capital projects fund budget.
And it's from Prop 39.
From the state,
funding.
direct funding for this. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And we put those funds in the capital projects budget.
All right, that's what's, all right.
Yes.
Saw that on the report. Now, and it's, one of the buildings is the one that's directly behind us here, right?
That is correct.
And was that in our master plan that building was going to be redone in the fairly near future?
Well, I think, in all actuality.
You're talking about Washington Hall?
Yeah, no.
The old ad building.
When I first started, I thought that building was gonna be raised, but then it became a place for a lot of other things. And I think we need it right now until we get another measure.
And well, and if I may speak to that, even if we were to significantly remodel any of the 3 buildings that we're putting this system in, that system would still be installed and working in any new building that we, or any remodel that we may do. And, yes?
Of the 13 buildings we have on campus,
Yes.
if we approve this and this project goes forward, will all the buildings then be outfitted with?
Ideally, that is the plan moving forward, provided we have a continuation of Prop 39 funding. There may be